Hi everyone, I'm Zen, your astrologer, and welcome to another pick-a-card reading with the subject, What is my soul purpose? This is a timeless reading, so it means that it's not linked to any specific time frame, so it doesn't really matter when you're listening to this. It is perfectly valid in a temporal way, so it's not linked to time. And also, before I get into the reading, I would just like to mention that I plan on doing more timeless pick-a-card readings, so if there is any specific subject which resonates with a timeless pick-a-card reading, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below, so future pick-a-card readings can have one of the subjects chosen by you. Now the instructions, like for any pick-a-card reading, just take a look at the 5 piles of cards for a couple of seconds, or as long as you are guided to, and then choose a pile or maybe more, which sparks up your intuitive senses the most, and of course, just jump straight to the interpretation. The timestamps can be found in the description of the video, but also the comments below. For those of you who have chosen the first pile, your cards are the Empress, the High Priestess reversed, and the Sun. This combination can speak in more than one ways to different people out there, but there is one big element which everyone has in common, and that is to heal the inner Venus, the divine feminine energies within you. So this is one life mission, so to speak, that everyone who has chosen the first pile has in common. But the way they have to achieve this, reach this, now that is what differs. For some listeners, this Empress represents that this is the energy that they have to learn to fully embody in this lifetime. So that means a healthy sense of self-worth. That means being proud of your femininity. That means having that inner strength, self-confidence, and the ability to just love unconditionally everyone and everything, so that they inspire everyone around them with their feminine energies, nurture, care. They also inspire self-confidence. They are also full of wisdom and emotional maturity. And basically this is the person they have to become. And the gender doesn't really matter, because both males and females have divine female feminine energies inside of them. And also, if we speak in astrological terms, everyone has a Venus in their chart. And usually when this divine feminine energy from within, this inner Venus, is healed and is empowered, well, that also represents creativity. That also represents a certain kind of courage, not to be afraid, not to be anxious about life being an endless adventure, not to be afraid of connecting with other people, not being ashamed or embarrassed of who it is that you are, everything that makes you special, everything that makes you unique, and of course everything that makes you attractive. So this is the energy of self-expression. But of course, this also automatically means that they had a lot of obstacles, challenges, and really toxic or self-defeating unconscious patterns regarding their inner Venus, their divine feminine energies, as the High Priestess reverse suggests. So this also means that they attracted into their lives, especially in the past and distant past, a lot of people and karmic connections who challenged them and actually rubbed a lot of salt in their wounds. And these wounds are when Venus is not very happy, when the divine feminine energies are not allowed to manifest from someone's inner world, so to speak. So that means low self-esteem. That means an introverted personality but taken to extremes a little bit. That means self-sacrificial tendencies, the need to be needed by others, the need for others to rely on you and almost use you in so very many ways, needing a lot of external confirmation for everything. You simply find it very difficult to believe in yourself, to believe in your worth, to believe that you are truly a beautiful soul inside and outside, and that you deserve all the best in life for the simple fact that you were born here, that you had the courage to come here and just be yourself. So all of this was challenged all throughout your life, because that High Priestess reverse represents that other people, especially in your childhood, weren't very kind to you, weren't very understanding, you didn't really feel supported. Quite the contrary, you might have always felt pushed out, unworthy. It can also mean that maybe your material situation wasn't as prosperous as it was of other people very close to you, like childhood friends, neighbors, schoolmates, etc. So this might have also been a big disadvantage. At the same time, maybe your family, your parents, and the education they provided you with might have been a little bit too rigid, too, let's say, outdated. You never actually felt empowered by anything, anyone, maybe not even your teachers, or you simply didn't resonate with who and how your family were as a unit, let's say. Maybe you never actually understood their life philosophy, or maybe they were religious, or maybe they had a certain way of living life which wasn't really you. So a lot of things from your past left scars, left wounds, and actually showed you. So physical reality, society, everyday life showed you that it's not okay to have a high self-esteem, to believe in yourself very passionately, because it will have a bad turn, it will have a bad ending. People will definitely not get who you are. So this might have also led you to rebel against the world, to rebel against yourself, to rebel against society. So you might have also had years when you were really, really down and you were making a lot of bad decisions, bad choices. You were just punishing yourself. You just didn't see yourself in this Venusian light that you truly deserve. And this, of course, isn't a coincidence, because you also inherited a lot of self-sacrificial karma from your previous existences, where perhaps in one specific previous life, where it might have taken place somewhere either in the First or Second World War, or an event as traumatic and as fearful as that, where you committed an act of self-sacrifice, one way or another, swapping your own life in exchange for children or a group of people. Even though you can imagine that gesture, that act on its own, elevated your spirit to the most divine planes, but still you need to heal that trauma. You need to forgive yourself, your soul, so to speak, that you sacrificed your existence for the greater good. And that is why you came in this life, in this period, in this timeline, to be able to do just that. So all the negativity and the troubles of the past were basically attracted in your life by these unconscious patterns that you inherited, by that ancestral trauma. And basically your life or your destiny never ever meant to hurt you, or you must not take it personally. It was just, it had to reveal to you one way or another of how wounded your inner Venus was. Because the Divine Feminine is the one who actually receives the sacrifice and ennobles it. Very rarely is the Divine Feminine the one to offer the sacrifice, because in the universe, the creational element, the feminine, always has a logical and rational priority, because if she gives life, if she nurtures life, of course she is more important than any other element. For example, like bees live in a matriarchal colony for very specific and clear reasons. They simply wouldn't be able to reproduce and, keep up their species without the feminine element, the queen, being sacrificed for her well-being, for her physical integrity, etc. So this is why you need to heal this inner Venus of yours, the divine feminine energies. But this High Priestess reverse also suggests that you might be aware of all of this. You might have already done a lot of significant inner work. So maybe you're almost there, and the final destination is the sun, of course. The sun is where life appears like an endless summer. So, basically where the sun can finally rise on your sky and you can receive the warmth, the joy, the light, the clarity, living in your truth, living in your own care and protection, nourishing yourself. This is where you are the perfect parent for your inner child, the sun, of course. So the inner child is happy, it's nourished, life seems like an endless adventure, full of freedom, where everything is a new opportunity. You're not afraid to express yourself, you're not afraid to show who you are, you're not afraid to create, for example. You're not afraid to show your emotions, and also you don't really care what other people think. Society no longer has any influence over you. You're just happy that you are yourself, that you found yourself, that you were blessed with so many options, opportunities, what to do with your life. And these blessings are mostly internal because you are a very creative spirit. You're so very benevolent. And with a healed Venus, with a healed divine feminine energies, well, the world is simply your playground. So basically, this is the most important mission in this life, to heal, regenerate, and basically realign with this divine feminine energies within you, regardless if you're a male or a female. So after you are well into your healing journey, your life will definitely take a different turn. That is where exactly those people who will reflect the healthiest expression of self-worth and self-esteem, people who appreciate you, people who like you, people who are attracted to you, are starting to pop up in your life, and things will take a really, really good and positive turn from there. And the rest is basically going with the flow. The rest is what choices you make. And of course, destiny is not always rigid. This was the rigid part that you had to heal. You had to confront with your ancestral trauma and the ancestral wound and figure out that it has no power over you unless you allow it. And from there, things are basically your choice. The universe, destiny just goes with what you choose, what you're attracted to, what you want to do. The only thing that matters is that you are a positive influence in your life and in the life of your closest friends and people who you want to have in your life, and that you think self-supportive, self-empowering, optimistic, positive thoughts, and this is your way of thinking. And the rest is basically going with the flow. Destiny will simply adapt itself to whatever it is that you are embodying in that present moment, whatever it is that you're working with. It is basically like a big co-creation along with the universe. Now for other people, the healing of the divine feminine is not taking place in their life in a very direct manner. So what I'm actually saying is that maybe it wasn't you personally who had these wounds, who had all the problems, but quite the contrary, maybe you entered into this life with a very, very strong Venus, with a strong emotional intelligence, with an emotional maturity very specific to the divine feminine, and it was your mother or perhaps another very important female in your life who you had to help, who you had to heal, who you had to support. So basically this is like a soul contract where one of the karmic reasons why you are in this life, in this existence, is that you could offer that help, support, or share the same faith with your mother, who is basically a soul under your care. It's very ironic because even though in this life maybe you are the child and your mom is the parent, but from a spiritual perspective, you are the more mature soul. You have a much greater experience and power. So spiritually speaking, you are the parent and your mom is the child. So it is a very symbiotic connection here where you and this female figure, and I am aware that for a lot of people maybe it's not their own mothers, their biological mothers, but for example if you're a male, it can be your life partner, it can be your wife, your other significant half who embodies this energy, and you are here to heal her, nurture her. Or it can be also the case where you just offer this kind of healing, nurturing, inspiration, support to every single female in your life. So basically it can also be an archetype that you embody, where you're just here to help, heal, support everything that I said. Wounded females, and you kind of align them with their inner Venus. You help them find their true sense of self-worth. You encourage them, protect them, support them, and show them the way of what healthy self-esteem truly means. Maybe some of you guys are already working, maybe with charities or something who supports disadvantaged moms, females, etc. Maybe some of you had domestic violence in your life, so you're really trying to make a difference in the world regarding that. So basically this can play out so very many different ways, but the essence is that you guys are the healers, you guys are the supporters, you are here to comfort the wounds of the divine feminine in so very many different ways in your life. But this act also nurtures you, heals you, it makes you stronger, you learn from everyone, and it's basically one of your soul missions, and you're doing it either officially, maybe for some of you guys this is your job, or other people, you just do it in a fated way. It just comes in your life almost automatically. It's just part of your destiny. And where this is leading you, well, it's almost self-explanatory. The Sun card. This is what makes you shine. This is what basically opens up the opportunities for your future in so many ways, like socially, maybe professionally, maybe even spiritually. So just being yourself and doing your thing, being that inspirational force, being a avatar of inspiration, nurture, emotional support, and just simply being a good example for everyone in your life. That is all that it's needed, and that basically that nurturing instinct of yours will just guide you to ultimately be able to live a really happy and optimistic, positive, passionate life, the Sun card. Of course, this doesn't mean that your life won't have challenges or moments of sadness or the downs in life, so to speak. But when you have such a really strong purpose, passion, when you have done so much good in your lifetime, you can imagine that The problems and the downside of life will never ever block out your sun. And finally, for others still, all of what I said is valid, but in a way where their fate, their karma, gets completed once they become parents themselves. So becoming a parent, becoming a mother or a father, and this doesn't necessarily mean having biological children, adoption, or for other people, maybe embodying this nurturing, divine feminine, divine mother energies can manifest as taking care of pets, animals, taking care of the most vulnerable, is how they heal their own divine feminine within themselves and also those of others. The only difference is that after they become parents or after they embody that role of a parent, nurturer, carer, etc., that is when the inner sun is definitely going to start blazing, shining, giving everything it has. That is a moment in their karmic paths when they become really, really strong, and a lot of good things are gonna start happening to them, because the universe and outer reality also supports those people who want to offer this to the collective or to a specific person, or whenever they reach that point in their karmic journeys when this actually can start, when this phase becomes that much more relevant. But regardless of which category you fall into, the Empress along with the High Priestess reversed and the Sun card just says that when you truly tap into your inner world, into your unconscious, and change, rewrite the patterns in such a way where your unconscious energies always, even when you're not aware of it, even when your consciousness is not under control, empowers the inner Venus. So beauty, femininity, passion, attraction, the joy of life, and sharing this joy with others unconditionally. When you achieve this, well, your life is definitely going to be prosperous and the sun will shine on your sky. From that point onwards, life is going to be like an eternal summer. And as I say, not because you won't have challenges, but because you will have so much inner strength to overcome everything and preserve that state of innocence and fertility and prosperity. For those of you who have chosen the second pile, your cards are the Six of Coins, the Eight of Swords, and the Six of Wands reversed. Now this combination is a little bit tricky because the Six of Coins suggests that you are someone born either with a really amazing, unique talent, or are someone who has a range of talents. This might be something artistic, for example, if you are born with the soul of an artist and can do so very much with your talents, with your vision, with your dreams, etc. You can create, in other words. Or maybe you are someone highly intelligent and maybe it is your intellectual sphere which is so very powerful. For example, maybe you are a writer, a poet, or maybe a scientist, maybe you are an innovator, a visionary. Or for others still, maybe it is your emotional world that is so very fertile, it's so very complex, unique, creative, intelligent, maybe you're very empathic. Well, anyway, it doesn't really matter. What truly counts is that you've got something really special, a gift that you were born with. And this gift of yours was, especially in the past, both a blessing and a curse at the same time. The blessing is almost self-explanatory, the gift. You can do stuff which so very few people in this life, in this world, society can do. And you can do it masterfully and also in a very unique way I can almost guarantee that what you can do or the way you can do it is very, very distinctive. There might not be anyone like that on the world, or if maybe there is, you're just a handful of souls who can do this in such a very distinctive and unique way. So the blessing is definitely that you're aware of this, and then you have done so very many things in your life in order to prove this, in order to just create or express yourself, a lot of projects, a lot of plans, a lot of initiatives. Maybe some of you guys also have studies, courses, or have been part of some kind of business project, etc. So you definitely tried your very, very hardest to work with this. But this 8 of swords suggests that it never actually turned into a massive success in a very down-to-earth way. So even though everyone who you've worked with, or anything that you might have done materially, physically, to express your talents, to express your artistic vision, to express your uniqueness, a part of it was a massive success, because most definitely everyone who you shared it with saw your brilliance, your greatness, what a really unique talent you have. But it was almost like fate, the universe, your fortune, your destiny simply didn't conspire in your favor, and it never turned into a material success. Now, the best way to express this is maybe through an example. Let's say that you have the intellectual and emotional and artistic genius and brilliance of a famous poet or writer, or someone who is an idol in the world in that domain or that field of art, or whatever, a singer or who knows, and you're just as good or as unique as that person, but yet you don't have the material success part of their stories. But this 8 of swords also tells the story that your destiny, your karmic path could not support you. It could not turn all of what you possess into a massive success, because you were, until this present point in your life, in a cocoon, in the sense that you still had to do so much to discover yourself, to discover different, let's say, nuances of life, of earthly existence. You basically had to philosophize and dream your life away for the sheer purpose to discover who you are in the very, very depths of your soul, the very core of your consciousness. And that it was the only reason why the universe or the divine or fate itself didn't allow you to have the success that you deserve, because that kind of material success would have grounded you so very much in matter, in a way of life, in routines, let's say, which would have simply defeated you. The abundance, the material success, the ease of the material life would have simply stopped you from trying your very best to overcome your limits, to reach a different expression of your mastery. So in the first part of your life, you just couldn't ground. The universe could not allow you to spring roots deep into the earth. It could not offer you the stability, the comfort, the freedom that you were seeking, because it just would have never allowed you to peek outside of the cocoon. You basically needed the challenges, the failures, the sad moments, the disappointments, the backstabs from others, in order to motivate you, perhaps in the darkest way possible, to just keep on striving to overcome your limits, to become even more authentically connected to your soul, so that your inspiration, your uniqueness will never ever dry out. so that you can embody your gift permanently without any effort. And just like any artist, any creator, any genius, you've been through so many episodes of depression and dark night of the soul, and when you just didn't know what you truly wanted, when you just couldn't figure out what the next step in your life is. You had so very moments of feeling lost, feeling defeated, feeling disconnected from the material plane, basically, from real life. And even though many times you thought that this was your greatest enemy, so that the dreamy part of yourself was that energy which blocks your material success, but it wasn't true whatsoever. It was actually that part of yourself which you had to allow to be as free as possible, so that your mind, your soul, your emotions can reach highs without any limits. But also, you've already done this. This phase in your life is lived, it is consumed, it already took place, and either you are already out of that cocoon. You just look at the image of the cards. You see that Eight of Swords depicting the cocoon, the chrysalis, and the next card, the Six of Wands, is the butterfly, already free, already flying, already out of the cocoon, doing its thing, being free, being beautiful, just being and enjoying life, and creating and sharing and doing whatever it is that they feel inspired to do in a very unconditioned manner. And this is exactly the future that you're stepping towards. So it's very, very simple. As soon as your soul finds peace with who you are in yourself, as soon as you don't condition your success materially, as in, even if you're not the world famous artist who you deserve to be, that doesn't make you any less. Quite the contrary. Doing your own thing and just experiencing and living the magic of life without being materially bound to, contracts and do this, do that, a tight schedule, or having to feel like a burden. Well, that is exactly the kind of life of freedom that supports you the most. So once you figure this out, once you embrace who it is that you are, and once you find true soul level gratitude for your gifts, as in where you wake up every single day of your life with maximum gratitude for the sheer fact that your birth in this existence allowed you be who you are, and the universe gifted you with that sharp intelligence, regardless if it's intellectual or emotional, and also that you have the chance to have such a very distinct vision of life existence, and you can reach basically anything. You are that unique and ingenious. The highest philosophies, the most complex worldviews which exist already are nothing, are child play compared to wherever you can take your talents to. So as soon as you abandon the conditioning, as soon as you won't expect your talents and gift to necessarily be reflected in material values and in material worth, your life is gonna change. Everything that you possibly need to be you, to be free, to create and exist, and just experience the magic of life, both the beautiful and the grotesque, in your own freedom. That is the moment when you invite karma and basically the divine to turn everything around for you personally. So, in other words, when that fated moment in your life comes, and this is something inner, so it's not an external event, when that light bulb just switches on in your mind and in your soul of just how very, very blessed you are, and that you are one of those people, one of those souls who is able to tap into nuances, let's say dimensions of earthly existence, which so very few people are capable of. Well, isn't that the biggest blessing one can possibly receive at birth? Because, the material and earthly life is just one aspect, but you have so very many others, all of which can be seen as dimensions in which you can exist in. Colors, philosophy, art, maybe spirituality, maybe your field of expertise. So even if you materially were limited in your past, you still were so much more freer than any other person, even the rich and famous who were enslaved by their contracts and their wealth, basically. And as soon as you understand that the lack of success, the lack of material prosperity was not a curse, was not bad karma, fate was actually not disadvantaging you but preserving your freedom, that is the moment when everything turns around. That is the moment when reality will start supporting you, preserving your freedom even materially. So everything you will ever need will just come to you with great ease, and you will have to learn to go with the flow, not focus on, material stability and getting rich, because the universe will just provide that automatically. And once you will learn to trust that everything that you will do is guaranteed to be a success one way or another, but without expectations being attached to that, exactly the symbolism of the Six of Swords, the card of victory, triumph, success reversed. So it can only be a success if you're not conditioning it. Once you achieve that, well, your reality and the way even material things, physical reality works in your life will take a miraculous turn. For those of you who have chosen the third pile, your cards are the Knight of Wands, Ten of Coins, and the Hermit reversed. Now for you guys, what I'm picking up and what I'm seeing is that your life path and your soul mission can be divided in two separate stages of your life. Now the first stage is extremely dynamic, and the first stage actually starts from your adolescence, and you embody this energy and archetype of the Knight of Wands. Now the Knight of Wands is a conqueror, but it is also a hero. It is either like a spiritual warrior, it is like a doer of good things, who stands up for other people, who fights for principles, who fights for goals, who fights for the greater good. So all of this suggests that you might have had so very many smaller scale soul missions in your life already. And at the same time, the Knight of Wands also suggests that so very many people in your past, all throughout your life, especially your most active years, well, people, certain souls manifested you in their lives in a very karmic way, because you had to either mobilize them, inspire them, help them, or in many cases challenge them. Some of these soul contracts were of challenging nature. Maybe you had to show them a truth they just didn't want to wake up to, or maybe they were doing all the wrong things, all the wrong choices in life, and you just had to challenge them for their greatest good, to awaken them. But this Knight of Wands can also represent, projects with big purposes, especially goals which you were really passionate about. So regardless of what kind of activities and basically smaller scale soul missions you performed in your younger years and even in this present moment, what always fuels you is passion, belief, and that inner creational fire energy. The Knight of Wands is a card of action. It is a card of doing, performing, getting very deeply involved in something. And as I said, some of these things are tied to your career, to your material life, or simply divine guidance where perhaps certain opportunities, offers, or a situation appeared in your life coincidentally. You just kind of knew, you just felt that that was what you needed to do there and then. And another part of this is your personal relationships with people who you formed friendships, alliances, partnerships with. So this also means that you collaborated or helped other people with their purposes, with their goals. And in this phase of your life, everything was also like a massive learning process where everything that you have done also taught you so very many things. Some of those things were like refining your skills, your talents, knowledge, know-how. Maybe you even finished certain courses. You maybe got some certificates, while other things were just life lessons, sources of life experience, learning about people, learning about how people think, their emotional world. So everything was at the same time an opportunity to go out there and fulfill certain karmic contracts, karmic missions, but all of these were like smaller scale, but tumultuous. I do think that the best way to describe this is enacting several karmas, several karmic patterns all in one life simultaneously. So it was like a massive multitasking where you learned, you did, you achieved, you also got defeated, you also learned right from wrong, you also learned a lot about yourself. And perhaps one of the most important lessons was to be very, very careful just how much energy, focus, sacrifice, work you invest into certain things or certain people, because not all are very rewarding. And when you are a hero, when you actually embody this archetype of the savior, of the knight on the shining armor, this hero who just pops up and does their thing and the day is saved, or hope or peace are restored. And while this is absolutely wonderful and it is definitely a source of good karma, yet still when you offer yourself on a silver tray, people will definitely take advantage of that. So slowly but surely you will start learning the lesson that the road to hell is also paved with good intentions. So you will have to, many times in life, limit yourself and just how much help you're offering to other people, because it's okay to offer yourself as an ally, but it's not okay to fight people's battles in their places. But in this reading at least, perhaps this isn't what truly matters, but rather that the first phase of your life was very, very tumultuous with everything, experiences, successes, failures alike, a lot of lessons. Every single area of your life was very, very active at the same time. So it was literally like living different lives all packed into one. So of course, many purposes that you came here with from previous existences or karmic contracts had to be enacted simultaneously, and that left you feeling extremely tired, and you might have had a massive breakdown when you lost yourself, you lost everything, you lost your will, your passion, your desire. All you wanted to do is just be alone, be left in peace by other people, where you just wanted to figure out yourself, or at least try your very best to ground yourself into one singular life, as in no longer feeling that you're living the karma of several lifetimes all at once packed up together. Because yes, you can do it and you have the strength and the power and the will and everything, yet still it is too much for your brain. It might be too much for your mental sphere, because ultimately this makes you overthink, and this makes you see every single thing in life as a game of tactics where you have to plan, where you have to know what the next move is. And that is really, really hard. And it puts a lot of stress on your mental sphere. So you might already have experienced physical illness or physical imbalance due to stress, due to this very hyperactive mental sphere. So, in other words, you might have had a breakdown moment in your life. But the good news is that that is gonna be the moment of the reset, when your life takes a totally different turn. Now, this 10 of coins represents either a karmic completion, which has to offer you a lot of material power, a lot of material prosperity. It might be a big inheritance. It might be a gesture of great generosity from someone, or it might be like a lottery win or anything of that scale, where all of a sudden, maybe overnight, you have all this material power in your hands, and what you're gonna do with it is stop the Knight of Wands part of yourself and your destiny from trying to conquer so very many things. Just calm down, just detach from absolutely everything, and start living your own story. Start living this sacred union with your own soul, and naturally also another soul, because I do see a soulmate kind of connection with another person. And finally, enjoy the life that you've always dreamed of having. Because of that big material power bestowed upon you, through karmic forces, of course, you will no longer have to worry about the future from a material sense, or having to do a kind of work which you don't like to do. You will probably embrace a very spiritual kind of lifestyle, where you just do whatever it is that your heart tells you to do, and say no to everything that you don't feel like doing. So no obligations, no compromises. And this state of being so very close with yourself and just existing, spending time with your own soul, and for some people also with that soulmate, and just living life, experiencing the beauty and magic of life, just breathing, just existing, just observing the beauty, miracle, fascination and magic of creation, of nature, of everything that basically exists in the world. And this will last for some years, a couple of years maybe, but this experience of just being, of just existing for the sheer sake of existing, is going to be so profoundly empowering, healing. It will do basically miracles for you and that very special person who is going to be part of your life. And you will make the choice, or you will be guided somehow, to share all that you have experienced with others. This might mean that maybe you will become some kind of teacher, or maybe you are going to use your material wealth to create like a school or a center where people can experience the same things as you could, and the same kind of healing and empowerment can also enter in their lives. Maybe a retreat somewhere, or a wellness center, or something where you just want to share the miracles that you have lived and experienced. And when this project, or better said, co-creation with the universe, regardless if this is just you being a teacher or you creating a retreat or whatever shape or form this can take. Maybe you're just gonna publish a book. Maybe you're gonna start a website, or it doesn't really matter, but that is also going to make you so very happy, so very fulfilled, so very grateful for everything that you were given the chance to experience in this life, that it will be just you existing in your own personal heaven until the end of your days. For those of you who have chosen the fourth pile, your cards are the Seven of Pentacles, the Moon, and the Nine of Wands. Now for those of you who have chosen the fourth pile, this is truly interesting and fascinating because none of these cards actually depict the past. So this means that for one reason or another, whatever has happened or taken place in your past is not so much significant, because what I'm getting here is that was almost like one person or one part of you which had to experience everything that was in the past, but something happened or is happening right now in your lives which is causing a massive reset, in the sense that regardless of how the past was, good, bad, everything in it, it's becoming somehow insignificant, irrelevant. That person is somehow dying, and the only thing that remains is memories and life lessons and coping skills, know-how, etc. But the emotional charge of the past and what you feel towards the past is somehow becoming so very irrelevant, and obviously what follows next is a kind of rebirth, almost like a phoenix moment, where all of this has a lot to do with your spirituality as well. But when I say spirituality, I don't perceive it like, highly religious or highly philosophical, but it's almost like you got connected to something. It was almost like some maybe synchronicities, physical events, something that you might have witnessed, experienced, saw, that left an impact on you, and it started from there like a domino chain. And you are on this journey and it's leading you somewhere, but you don't really know where. You are a little bit confused, but also very excited at the same time. And this is so very rare, because in all of my pick a cards, at least the ones that I usually create, the past always appears in one way or another, and it's absolutely logical and rational, because everything is basically built on the past, isn't it? But not for you guys, and this is the first time this ever happened, when it's almost like the past was erased, it's not even there anymore, only the future. And what I can see for the future is this soul purpose, which has so much to do with nature. And when I mean nature, it is not just the physical nature, but also the spirituality of nature, the intelligence of nature, the magic of nature, coexisting, co-creating with nature, study of nature in a very close and personal way, maybe an alternative medicine, plant medicine, growing plants, communing with nature, living in the midst of nature. Maybe for some of you guys, this is your future goal, to live in a much more natural way, or somehow like permaculture, or moving to the countryside, or integrating nature, but not just physically, of course, also the spiritual part of it, nature spirits or Mother Earth, or connecting to nature's collective consciousness. So you want this to be a permanent part of your lives. And it's not just what you want, you do feel a genuine calling. So it is something really, really spiritual, really mysterious. Things already happened. And it's not just like something that you might be dreaming of or a purpose. It's almost like it is also calling you, giving you signs. It's very active in your soul, in your life, in everything that you do. And even though right now you might not really understand where this journey takes you, or what do you need to do in your life next, or where all of this is guiding you to, it's not really a problem because you're so connected to everything. It's almost like as if you are a child once again and you're just rediscovering life. You're rediscovering basically everything. And the only thing that the cards are telling us is that this is leading you, guiding you to your greatest strength, to your greatest advantage. This is, of course, fated without a shadow of a doubt. But your transformation isn't complete yet, so you have no idea of just how much potential there is inside of you. You have no idea of just how strong and powerful you are. Maybe for some of you guys, this might be the journey, a shamanic journey, where you're learning how to become a shaman, or a spiritualist, a healer, someone who might work with plants, someone who is working with nature, maybe the land, maybe a specific area, or maybe the spirit of nature is calling you guys. So basically, your life purpose, your soul mission, well, it is what you're doing right now. And you're still in the exploration, learning phase, and basically deciphering the language, how, I don't even know how to express this, how the spirit of nature or whatever that you're picking up on is communicating with you, the language, the signals, how you can understand and perceive the guidance more clearly. And basically, all you need to do is hang in there, trust the process, and follow the guidance. Of course, maybe some people who have chosen the fourth pile are not really going to abandon everything that they have and just move in somewhere natural and connect to nature. For some of you guys, this may appear in your life as becoming a healer, learning how to become maybe like a therapist, alternative medicine. Maybe some of you guys are learning how to take care of your physical bodies, how to detox, or how to listen to the signals of your body in order to regenerate, stay healthy, operate in optimal potential always. So whatever you're learning right now is definitely gonna become one of your greatest strengths, and you're not just gonna perfect it, but you're actually gonna use your own techniques, your own unique knowledge, something that you are channeling maybe. So it's not like following something mainstream or anything like that. It is extremely unique, that something that is being passed on to you as we speak. So there isn't really much more to say here other than trust, and you're already living it, you're already doing it, you're already in it. And the cards only show that this is going to lead you to a lot of power, to a lot of inner strength, to doing what you came here to do, because this is also the perfect timing for that. Perhaps that is one of the reasons why the past was erased, because that was just a preparation journey to basically reveal to you how the human world, society, the mundane side of existence the usual, the average, how most people live their lives, live out their destinies. In order for you to have an understanding of this, a profound and deep understanding, because, only if you live it and you do the same things and get the same experiences, can you truly integrate it as true, authentic knowledge. Reading about that, well, it's not even if you just receive the wisdom spiritually, it's still not the same as living it, doing it, and having that very deep personal experience. So perhaps the past, with all good and bad, was just like a school where you learned what life is in this day and age, how society operates, the good sides, the bad sides, the problems, the potential, the blessings, everything. But now, after you have completed that phase, this is where your true destiny can unfold, because you are ready, you have the understanding, you have the experience, and at the same time, you have the desire, this excitedness, passion, and desire to embrace the new, to embrace your true destiny, and also this new life, so to speak, and what you're doing with it, in it. Well, it fascinates you so very much that you almost feel like having stepped into a totally different dimension. And that fascination, the passion, the love, feeling so very connected to everything, well, basically that was something that you have always been looking for all throughout life, and you have it. Here it is. This was the shape and form it took. So all I can say is stay on your journey, stay on your path, because you're definitely heading towards a future of empowerment, strength, stability, and just doing things which you could have never imagined yourself doing ever. For those of you who have chosen the fifth pile, your cards are the Strength reversed, Temperance, and the Four of Swords reversed. Now this is also a very unusual combination, and also what I'm picking up from this, because this tells the story that you embody the soul of an alchemist. And when I say alchemist, well, don't envisage this as, a person with chemicals and elements in their hands mixing stuff in a cauldron or anything like that. This means that you have obtained throughout your past lives, of course, the power of transmutation, the wisdom, know-how, knowledge of this. So this means that you have and possess the power even right now to transmute, alter, change, transform, even physical reality. Now this in itself is really nothing special, because you can imagine that you're not the only one, and actually most human beings have this potential. And also a lot of people, sometimes without them knowing that they're doing it, are using alchemy, are transmuting stuff. So it's not this which makes you that very special. What does make you actually very special is that you weren't just any alchemist, even if what you were doing wasn't called alchemy, or maybe it had a different term, a different name. But what matters is that you were very powerful, you were very knowledgeable, and it's not like you had to dig books and ancient texts and all of that for knowledge. You invented, so to speak, or channeled, or kind of created your own methodology, your own unique way of doing things, and unconsciously you still possess in this life all of that information stored deep within your soul, because you can never ever forget those things. even if you are a totally different person in this existence, yet still the power that you have obtained and the knowledge and the wisdom is still there within you. And one way how you can actually notice this is that you might still have a very strong and unexplainable fascination, for example, like symbols, maybe planets and astrology, even if you are not an astrologer or have no knowledge of astrology. I mean just a fascination to the symbols used, ancient cultures, civilizations, philosophies, maybe magic tricks and everything of this nature. And also what the strength reversed tells us is that in the past you had a lot of obstacles. You had a lot of challenges. You were really, really disadvantaged in certain areas of life. And without exaggerating, life was in many ways very unfair to you. Even when you were a child, even when you were a young adult, certain things, maybe for some people material in nature, for others psychologically, emotional relationships, connections, an area of life which for other people, friends or people who you knew, was so very easy and it was like a permanent state of flow. Good things kept happening to them, and for you it was almost impossible, difficult. You just didn't know what you were doing wrong. You just couldn't understand why things never ever work out for you, or why you cannot express that power that you just felt always that is within. And needless to say that especially when you were younger, you had all these dreams and deja vus and a lot of weird stuff happened in your life. And this was all due to a certain karmic charge which you brought with you in this existence from times when you were an alchemist, and you were an alchemist or someone who had this power of transmutation in many lifetimes, and sometimes you used it to cheat fate. And many times you even used it in the most selfless ways possible to help disadvantaged people and miraculously turn their lives around. But, there is a price for everything. And in this lifetime, you had the power, you received everything that you have worked for, but you also had to repay this karmic debt. So basically, in your past, life, fate, destiny, the universe kind of forced you to overcome really difficult situations, and it made things very unfair for you, which wasn't really bad intention, it was just to motivate you. This was the way life forced you to mature and rediscover your power of alchemy, because you had to transform so many pains, bad situations, failures, life crisis, catastrophes, not just in your life, but in the life of your loved ones, friends, etc. So you really had a tough time, but it did awake you, it did mature you, and it did guide you to acknowledge what a great power you have. And I'm not sure what shape or form that the alchemy takes in your life right now, as in the person who you are today. You might be an artist. That is always an alchemic way of transfiguring reality into something beautiful, artistic. You can work with, spirituality. You can be like a yoga master. You can be a teacher. You can be someone who heals people, like a therapist, psychologist, a scientist, someone who studies nature, studies physics. Or you can just be, even today, an anonymous alchemist who transmutes reality their own unique way. But what is the most important is that you're already achieving a state of balance, a state of equilibrium. you're truly starting to master your abilities. You know exactly which thoughts, thought patterns, emotions you have to work with, combine, alchemize, in order to have the very, very best results. So I do believe that either you are already turning your life around or you already accomplished this. And what you do next with your ability, with your gift, with your knowledge, that part depends totally on you, your preferences, your choices, your passion, your discernment, your diligence, so to speak. So it's totally up to you, whatever you believe in, whatever life throws at you, wherever your destiny guides you to, or in whosever life you have to enter. So this part of you, what you do with who you are and your strength, that is totally up to you. You have been through so much in the past that you don't even have to worry about making a mistake or choosing unwisely, or you are not even worried that the problems, that bad karma, so to speak, which isn't really bad karma, it is just a price, a debt that you had to repay. You're not even worried that that is going to return in your life, because as I said, either you're achieving real balance and peace and the ability to stay on top, or you've already achieved this, so you're okay already. And what is not really up to you and your preference, in the sense that this is something that your soul demands from you, asks from you to make it your life mission. Well, it is to live experiences which hurt you deeply in the past, especially the inner child. For example, moments that you couldn't enjoy when you were a child, the friends, the lightheartedness, playmates, being able to just be a child and laugh and not take anything in life seriously, or maybe other experiences like going to a certain place, going on a holiday and just enjoying yourself. In other words, to try and live everything that you missed out on when you were a child and give yourself that experience, that joy. And of course also those experiences which were bitter and unpleasant, to relive them once again. But this is where you make the best out of it. You enjoy it. You live them as freely, as intensely as you wish, because you, as an alchemist, as someone who knows what transmutation is, well, that also means that the inner child never ever aged, never ever changed. It was always alive inside of you, and now it is the time to heal it, to nurture it, to protect it, to allow it to be free and exist. And perhaps it is this part which you're really afraid of, because you might think that if you become truly happy, the moment when you truly immerse into life, and especially the most beautiful parts of life, bad things will start to happen. Because the past did leave a trauma on you. Because there were moments when you truly tried to be happy, when you tried to just give the child what the child wanted, and it didn't last for long, because a challenge, an obstacle, a crisis immediately came in your life. But you must understand that that's not how reality works anymore. That is no longer part of you and your journey. You did that, you completed the work, you paid what you had to pay, and now you are free. You are in balance, you are in control, you are in harmony, so you can do whatever your inner child wants without the fear of attracting something bad in your life. Well, this concludes today's pick a card. I do hope that you enjoyed it and you found it useful. Please remember, if you want a specific topic or a subject for the next pick a card, just express your opinion in a comment. and I will try my very best to deliver that to you. Thank you once again. Thank you so much for everyone's kindness, generosity, support, and for listening to my work. Until next time, bye for now.